since the spring.
I figured you might have. Okay, let's see. 2 more people just logged on. All right. Well, good evening. I'm Alex Timms. I'm your Scout Executive, and thank y'all for coming in. Tonight's topic is just kind of a follow-up for those who couldn't make some of the earlier Zoom conferences about the changes that are happening for popcorn sale this year. No doubt, this has been the strangest year for scouting and our society, I would say probably since the 30s when all the polio epidemics first started popping out. Scouting has changed a little bit on the way we're delivering things. We've all gotten pretty good at Zoom and virtual things and all this. And, you know, popcorn's going to be a little different this year. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much going to be popcorn as usual with some changes. We're really excited about the possibilities for the future. A couple of things really quick. I'll do a quick commercial. With everybody in Dane County having to go to face mask and all this, one of the things we bought for our camps this year were buffs. I happen to be wearing one. I happen to have the Camp Indian Trails one on. I feel like Frito Bandito. Now, if you didn't get that joke, you're too young. But we do have these available with for Camp Indian Trails and Ed Bryant, which is a red one. They're available at the camp trading posts or the council office. They're $12 a piece. If you'd like to get them, we have some left over, and they're a whole lot more comfortable than some of the other masks. All right, one of the things as we go forward tonight, no doubt everybody's going to have a lot of questions as we go through. What we'd like to do is to ask you to use the chat feature to put your questions in, and in all likelihood, we're going to answer your questions as we come along. So what I'd like to do is ask you to put those questions in, and then we'll open it up for anybody else who has other questions that we'll be able to answer tonight. I'd like to introduce from Trails End, Chuck Pattison. Chuck has been with Trails End. This is going to be his 18th sale. He has 2 kids in scouting and has most recently become an Eagle Scout dad. And he's also been involved with popcorn on the unit level as a unit colonel. So Chuck is going to kind of roll this out, and Chuck, it's all yours.
Okay, thanks, Alex. Let me get the going here. All right, here are the things we're going to discuss tonight, the main things. How the technology that we have and some of the programs that we do at Trails End can help you in your sale. We'll talk specifically about the app and how you can do storefront sales, wagon sales, online direct sales for the app. That's new this year. And then the leader portal, which is what leaders use. The scouts and their families, their parents use the app. Leaders do not use the app. And I may say that a couple times, but there's always some confusion there. And I think as we go through and explain these things, you'll understand. We'll talk about getting some Square readers out to some unit leaders because our app runs on Square in terms of how they process credit card fees. All those fees are paid for by Trails End, never the units or scouts. We'll talk about products and resources and hopefully answer everything that's about the program this year. Just real quickly about Trails End, if you don't know, we've been selling popcorn to Boy Scout councils since 1980. The first sale was in 1980 with one council, Evansville, Indiana, when they came to us and said, we need a product fundraiser for our units and for our council. And we're thinking about either popcorn or one other option. And the other option, if you're curious, it's kind of a funny story, I think, but they came down to selling a 5-pound bucket of unpopped kernels, and that was the only product for the popcorn, or tube socks. And fortunately, they decided to sell popcorn, and here we are 40 years later. We work with about 175 of the 250 Boy Scout councils in the country. And since we had that first sale in 1980, the next year was 7 councils. The next year after that, it was 19, I think, and it just grew from there. But over $4 billion has gone back to scouting, not just gross sales since then, but $4 billion has gone back to scouting that time. The main programs that we have that we've really focused on the last year, excuse me, are the app, our online sales, and then the communities, and mainly the Facebook communities. You see down there below, text Facebook to 62771 to join our community today. I'll talk a little bit more about Facebook towards the end of the presentation, but it's really a great thing because there are over 12,000 unit leaders from across the country that do popcorn that are on that community, asking questions, answering other people's questions. If they have an obstacle or, a challenge, hey, has anybody experienced this? Within 5 minutes, you'll have 6 or 7 responses of people saying, yeah, that happened to me before, or here's what I did to get past that. So it's a really immediate and thorough way to get answers to your questions. You don't have to wait till somebody shows up at the office the next day to read their email or to answer a voicemail that you might have left if you have a question at night. So, all right, the app, that's the main thing here. And I'll start by saying that the app was started in development about 2.5, 3 years ago. We had unit leaders that would come to us through the years and say, guys, you got to help us with technology. This is such a hard job as a unit popcorn kernel. It's burning me out. You got to do something to help us. So we sat down with probably a dozen really high selling unit leaders across the country that had some great ideas. And we whiteboarded out all the things that they said they would like to see in an app. And the main thing was to be able to take credit card processing through the app, be able to track their sales, their inventory, be able to set up storefronts, because so many more units nowadays are wanting to do storefront sales as opposed to going through the neighborhood, which was the predominant way when I was first starting this, in this job 17, 18 years ago. Also, you have really 3 methods as a scout or as a parent to go in and make a sale using the app. Either storefront, and you decide this right when you log in and you're about ready to take a sale. You decide which method you want to go. Is it a storefront sale? Is it a wagon sale, which basically is the door-to-door, the show and deliver, anything else other than a site sale, which is storefront. And the third way is online direct, which is new this year. And we came up with this started really in March developing it because we wanted to come up with a safe way for scouts to sell, that they didn't have to be in person, that they would take credit card as a form of payment, and the product would be shipped directly from the manufacturer, Trails End, to the consumer's door, a contactless delivery. We thought there were going to be a lot of parents who were uncomfortable with their scouts selling in front of a store this year or going door to door. Now, I want you to know, you're not going to be a guinea pig with this app. This isn't the first year we've had it. It's not the second year. In 2018, we had 190 units that said, we really want to test your app this first year. So we worked with them, and those units totaled about almost $2 million in sales, so a pretty big sample size. And there were some bugs that first year, and they gave us a lot of great feedback on ways to make it better. And then 2019, last year, we rolled it out to the entire country. And you see below there, we had over 14,500 units use it, 160,000 scouts use the app. And for those units that really pushed it and said to all their families, listen, this is the real way we want you to keep track of your sales. You still have the paper take order form if you want to, which your scouts will have this year as well. But we really prefer that you do the transactions through the app. And the reason why is because some of this you'll probably recognize through experience, but when I was a colonel, I had probably about 30 scouts that would sell every year. Now, I didn't get 30 order forms at the end of the year. I usually got 60 to 75 because some scouts filled up 2, 3, 4 order forms. And invariably, a lot of those order forms didn't add up, right? They were off on the money, or they put the check mark the wrong product column on this item and this line instead of the other one. And basically there were 60 to 75 of those sheets. You had to, proofread and figure out mistakes. Well, if you're using the app, then there is none of that, because it's all electronic and it's digital. There isn't anything for a scout to make a mistake on. Also, you're able to see real time how your scouts' sales are going if they're using the app. If they're not, then you don't have any idea until they turn in the order form at the end of the sale. Some units check out product to scouts, I should say, and you'll be able to see real time if they've been selling it, if they're using the app. If they're just using the order form, then you won't know. Now, I know some people might live in some rural areas, or some of their families may not have a smartphone that have apps on them. They could still go to a desktop computer or a laptop and log into their Scouts account and be able to enter those sales into their Scout portal, and they'll show up for you real time in the leader portal that you'll see. It's just that they won't have the advantage of being able to take credit cards as a form of payment. And we think this year, in light of people not really wanting to handle cash from other people, that taking credit cards would be a preferred way. Last year it was about 20 1% of all the transactions in the app were credit card, 21%, yes. The rest were cash or check. But credit card transactions are higher on average, and I think that's true really in any business. So let's see here. Yeah, so in order to get the app, you just you can text app to 62771 to download it. You can go to the Apple Store. You can go to the the Google Play Store for Android phones, and download it, and then create a username as a scout. Now, as a leader, again, if you try to create a username as a leader, it won't let you into the app. Here's a few screenshots to show you what the app looks like. That second one kind of gives you the dashboard, and I'm going to have a demonstration that I'll play a video here towards the end that will show you how a transaction can work. But that screenshot of the dashboard kind of shows you your total sales, your goal, how much came in storefront, wagon, how much is online, and then how much has come through cash or credit cards. And if you look at the bottom, you can see the storefront shifts that scout has claimed. Next screenshot just gives more details, and the third one specifically about wagon sales. Okay, here's a few more screenshots. So at the point of sale, you can see all the products listed there. You just, the scout would just click the product that the consumer wants. There's the option to donate to military. It's called American Heroes this year to incorporate first responders, local heroes. But on the app right now, I think these old shots, it says military still. But a consumer can donate any amount that he or she wants to the military above the price of the product that they're buying. So if they want to give $1 or $5, $10, they can. At the bottom of that second screenshot, when it comes to payment, they'll pick cash or credit. And then you see storefront scheduling. That's the calendar there, and they can see the available shifts that they can claim or they can withdraw from. Again, this is what a scout or a parent would do for their scout. And then you can see on the far right the sale tracking. Okay, oops. So to download the app, again, you can go to the app, the iTunes Store, Google Play. You can text that code to 62771, and you can begin to register your account immediately. It shouldn't take more than a minute or two. If a scout is younger than 13, he or she needs his mom or dad's permission, so they'll have to put in their email address to confirm that it's okay. That's the Child Online Privacy Protection Act law. Again, you see at the very bottom, only scouts can log into the app. Leader accounts will not allow access to the app. And they can begin selling now. They could sell, they could go do take orders if they want to and deliver that product later once it comes in September, or they can sell online direct. And I'll explain how online direct is right now. We think it's the best and preferred way to sell because it's the safest, obviously. That second bullet doesn't apply there to you guys, but the traditional products and traditional prices are available through online direct. So you can even sell the $10 small caramel corn through online direct. Now, there's no handling of cash or the products for the scout or the unit. Again, when the sale's made with online direct, trails into shipping the product directly to that consumer who supplies their shipping address to the scout. And then they use a credit card too to pay for it. So there isn't any handling of cash. The scout doesn't have to turn cash into the unit. It's very simple and clean. Now, if the scout is doing an online direct sale with the consumer and they are over the phone or they're somewhere else, the scout can hit share when it's time to check out, and a text message will go to the consumer, and they can enter their credit card number and enter their shipping address and then hit conclude sale, and the sale is complete. There's nothing more for the scout to do. That's a feature that we put into this so that anyone who's concerned about sharing their credit card number over a phone or texting it to somebody, it's just an added piece of security and peace of mind for them. There's a plan on how to sell $1,000 while social distancing that we think is pretty interesting. It's really about 8 hours of selling. I always like this example. If a unit kernel has a kickoff, and a lot of you guys may do a kickoff virtually this year, I assume. Don't know if you're meeting yet or when you plan to meet, but at the kickoff, typically the popcorn kernel says, we'd like everybody to sell $500 or $400 or whatever. And you have parents in the room that think, $500, that's like a car payment. My scout can't sell that. That'll take us forever. Well, the truth of the matter is, a scout typically averages about $125 to $150 an hour. And a better way of saying that, of saying sell $1,000, would be to say, can you sell for 8 hours over the course of the next, 5-6 weeks of the sale? Most parents, when they hear that, can say, yeah, we can do that. We can do a storefront shift or 2 storefront shifts for 2 hours each and go through the neighborhood a couple days and do some online selling, and that'll be 8 hours. Well, that should get them to $1,000. So if you're interested in this plan on how to sell $1,000 socially distancing, text my plan to 62771 to download that. All right, so there's 2 ways to sell with online direct. The scout can share his or her page from the app. It's just through a text message or a Facebook post or even an email. Or the other way is to pick online direct as the method for that transaction, find the product that the consumer wants, take the payment, and then the product will ship directly to the consumer. Now, a scout can start selling online direct right now. If you see those 4 bullets at the bottom there, all the online direct store features products that are sold at traditional prices. For instance, the white cheddar is one of our most popular items, and it's at $20. It's what it sells for. Now, the consumer has to pay the shipping. And the truth of the matter is, guys, there's no way to get around the fact that a scout can deliver the product for free in the normal sale, the traditional sale. But with online and having it shipped directly to the consumer's door, contactless delivery, we have to use a carrier like UPS or FedEx, and they charge shipping costs. So we could either cut the commission to help cover that, or we could raise the price of the products and build that shipping charge or price into the cost of the product, or we can have the consumer pay it. Now, we believe the consumers are willing to pay a nominal shipping price because they're supporting scouting. Some people will say, I don't want to pay it. I understand that. We're looking at ways to try to reduce that. We do, I think, about $15 million a year in online sales where we're shipping it directly to the consumers, but it's still not enough volume for the carriers to give us a real break on shipping prices. Okay. Accepting credit or debit cards. That's the best for the scouts because they're not handling cash. They're not having to turn in cash to the unit. Now, when a scout makes a sale with a credit card, whether it's doing door-to-door, storefront, or this online direct method, whenever they take a credit card or a debit card for the form of payment, Trails End then 2 days later sends a credit to that unit's invoice. So if you checked out $5,000 worth of product, let's say, or will, then you'll have an invoice that's due to the council for, I don't know, $3,500 or so, the $5,000 less the unit's commission. Well, any transaction you do involving, your scouts do involving credit cards, we will send a credit to your account that will reduce that $3,500 by the amount of the transaction. So if a scout does an online direct sale for $50, let's say tomorrow, in your unit, then 2 days later, you'll see that invoice show a $50 credit, not the commission amount for that $50 sale, but the credit for the entire transaction. Because it would be just the same as if you took cash for that. You need the $50. But you're not getting the money from the credit card. That's flowing through the app to Trails End, and that's how we prevent the unit from having to pay any of the fees. Square is still charging us fees, whether you swipe the credit card or you type in the number. That's another thing I want to say. You can type in the number. You don't have to have a reader to take a credit card payment, but we do still have to pay the fees to Square. We just decided that we would absorb those fees because we thought that scouts and parents and unit leaders were a lot more likely to use the app and all the advantages that come with it if they didn't have to pay the fees. So again, higher sales, it's easier, and you can use a reader. Some people already have a Square reader. Some people, if you don't have one and you want one, you can get one from CVS or Walmart, Walgreens, Amazon online. You can get them for around $8 to $10. Okay, the leader portal. I've mentioned so much about the app, which is what scouts and parents use, not unit leaders, but what do you guys use as a leader to track your sale? You use what we call the leader portal. And again, this was designed with a whole bunch of input from unit leaders that say, you've got to be able to account for this. You have to be able to let us track inventory, track sales, order our popcorn from there, set up storefronts, everything. So all the things you see there is what this allows you to do. And again, I'm going to have a video demonstration of the leader portal here in a little bit. Here's a look at the dashboard. Let's get those people admitted here. I got a couple people that are joining us. Okay, here's a look at the dashboard when you first log into the leader portal. I want to point out just a couple things here. Again, it's going to show you your total sales, your total scouts that have registered accounts, the number of orders you have, the storefront shifts if you're doing that, progress towards your unit's goal. Also, the upper left, you see invite your scouts. So every scout, in order to use the app, needs to create an account. And I mentioned that when you download the app. It's real simple, doesn't take you very long, but that's how they'll start to show up in your leader portal. If they have an account, if they've created an account, then you'll see them under your scout roster. And then you can check out product to them, or you can see how well they're doing with their sales at any point in time. And you can invite them by emailing them through the function of the invite your scouts part of this dashboard. Okay. All right, now I'm going to play this demonstration, and we're going to go about, it's about 20 minutes or so. But it's very good information, and it's being done by a lady named Becky Alt, who is a unit kernel for a pack that sold $250,000 of popcorn, 260 actually, and she was one of the original people that helped us design the app and the leader portal. Give me a second here to get that going.
Chuck, you may need to turn off your personal video because it's not, I don't hear anything.
Okay. Still not hearing anything?
No, I'm not hearing any volume on it.
Let's see. Let me try one thing here.
Brad Moore suggested turning on computer audio.
Try the video on computer audio.
Let's see, turn on computer audio is what Brad wrote on the board here.
Okay.
Well, we do. Hey, how about I do this? For this, maybe I can unmute Brad and he can walk you through it. Brad, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. What we have, let's see. So what are you suggesting, Brad, on there?
So I'm not sure if that was the exact term, but I know that there's an audio setting to basically play your system audio sounds. Trying to find it here. Oh, I think it might be in the share screen. I've seen it before, and now I can't find it.
Okay.
Sarah says things on the top by view options. Let's see. Okay, this worked in the practice, folks.
Not hearing that, huh?
I'll tell you, Chuck, would it be, is this something that we could
I'll tell you what, Alex, why don't I skip the demonstration, and then after we're done, I can make available to all the unit leaders this video so they can watch it and see the demo in their own time.
Okay, I think that works.
Not quite sure how that is. Worked before, not working now. Must have done something different. Okay, let me get back to the presentation. Essentially, we're showing you, in overall, I'll just give you the brief rundown. It was going to show you how to register as a unit leader if your unit has not registered. There's a number of you that have, and there's some that have not still. Then it was going to take you through how you can use the leader portal, all the different functions and screens. You don't have to use all those if you don't want to. Again, the leader portal was designed by lots of people who really love to keep track of stuff and kick out reports and sort data in Excel spreadsheets that they export from the system. Now, if you just say, look, I just want to order the popcorn for my unit, and that's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. It's the same thing with the app. If your scouts don't want to do anything more than just simply take the transaction and use the credit card feature for free, no fees, then they can do that. They don't have to, claim storefronts or do any of that stuff either. Okay, so registering your unit, there's a link at the bottom of the slide. You see that if your unit has not registered. And then any online direct sales, you heard us talking about online direct before as a way to sell without having to deliver the product or collect cash. Anyone that happens between now and August 15th will give the unit 5% bonus commission beyond what they normally would earn in the form of an Amazon.com gift card. All you have to do is be registered by August 15th to get that, and to obviously have online direct sales by some of your scouts. Okay, we have webinars too that we make available for anybody that wants to know more about the technology or to hear great suggestions from successful unit leaders around the country. We have them every day, 5 or 6, I think, every day except Sundays. And we're doing this because last year was the first year we rolled the app out to all the units nationwide. And we had about 35 of those webinars to help leaders understand the technology. And those units averaged about 11.2% growth over the year before. And the rest of the units around the country that did not join a webinar were about flat from the year before. So again, we have different kinds, some that are more advanced. So if you're selling 20,000 or more, you might want to attend one of those because there's more advanced topics discussed there. If you're a first-year Kernel and you have never sold before, there's the $0 to $7,500 selling unit webinar. There's even some for scouts too. So we're inviting scouts and scout parents to come onto their own webinar. If you're the parent of a scout and you want to attend one of those, you'll see those options too. All you have to do is go to trails-end.com/webinars or text webinar to 62771 to see the schedule and the registration details. Okay, I mentioned the Facebook group before. It's just lots of ideas. We do polls on there a lot of times too, just a lot of great ideas. You can see what other people around the country that are successful are doing. Get questions to your answers, or get your question. And then reasons to start selling early. So, we put this slide in here because when we started talking about online direct, we had a lot of people that said, gosh, we'd never really thought about selling popcorn until, September and October. Well, there are a lot of other units that are telling us, can we start now with this online direct? Can we start doing take orders now? And we thought, well, if you're concerned about COVID-19 becoming, a second wave or maybe possibly lockdowns happening in the fall, which we've heard that when the weather gets cooler, that might happen. That might be more likely than in the summer. You can start doing that. And then we have the promotion, the 5% extra commission on any online direct sales before August 15th. We even have this Scout Online Direct Entrepreneur Challenge. So any scouts that pledges to do their best to sell 2,500 or more through online direct from July 1 to August 15th, they have access to some certain trainings and webinars from experts in business, e-commerce, and some scouts that have done really well with selling online in the past. And the first 200 scouts to hit that goal will receive a $200 Amazon gift card too. So if this is something that interests you or any of your scouts that are really high sellers, you might want them to take that pledge or offer that option to them as well. We have, I think, 9 scouts already that have sold $2,500 or more through online direct around the country. Okay, if you've noticed this, maybe you have if you've been seeing the emails. If you haven't noticed anything about storefronts yet, this is the first time I'm going to explain that. We've have a group of people at our headquarters in Indianapolis that are calling in certain councils, not all of them nationwide, but about 20 councils, and Glacier's Edge is one of them, where they'll call the major grocery store chains, home improvement stores, and so forth in their area and ask if we can book some storefront hours on behalf of the scouts in those areas. So we've booked, I think, about 10,000 hours. If you've gone into the leader portal, because you've already registered and created an account for yourself, you may have seen the storefronts that were there. It just got launched. If you have a location that you always use, you're free to go contact them and set up as you want. I will tell you, though, we are seeing a lot more hesitancy from some stores to commit to giving scouts shifts and times to be able to do storefront sales because of their COVID-19. Some of them are saying we flat out won't allow it at all. Some are saying you'll have to set up away from the door. Some of them have told us, well, right now, yes, but check back with us in mid-August and we'll see what we're looking like then. So it was a little harder going to get those hours, but we wanted to do that just as a service to unit leaders, because there's a lot of people that don't really like going to a store and talking to the manager and asking them for that time and those schedules. But if that's you, hopefully this helps you. You can claim them through the leader portal. If you look on that left menu when you get in there, you'll see storefronts.
Chuck, is there a list of the places that have maybe declined to Trails End? I've heard like Walmart's not wanting to sell, and our Walmart isn't on the list, so I don't want to call if they've already said no thanks.
Okay, Shannon, great question. I will get the list of everybody we called, got yeses or no from. Obviously, yeses you'll see on the list that you can claim, but the ones that said no, I'll get that list too and send it to Alex, and he can disseminate it to everybody. I did that for another council, and they like that because, as you said, they'll know where they don't need to waste their time trying to ask for time. As it relates to Walmart specifically, I've got some councils that their Walmarts are okay with it, and some that the Walmarts have said no. So it might be, the store manager's prerogative, I guess, in some of those instances.
Okay.
One thing I would add to that, Shannon, is that when we have somebody calling, that's a little bit different. It's easy to say no to a telephone, and if we end up on them, they say no, but that you or someone in your unit has a personal relationship with that store manager, or you have a parent that works there, you may be able to get them to say yes, where they just took the path of least resistance and just said no. But we will get that. We'll distribute that list out through the Kernel's list as we get that.
Yeah, I double checked. Walmart's in Wisconsin River District are on the list, so it might just be the other districts.
Okay, I want to show you some of the products that we'll have. So we're going to have a Wisconsin Badgers, a themed tin, similar to last year. And then there's a cheese lovers collection, which has the white cheddar and a blazing hot popcorn in it. The salted caramel is a real popular flavor. And you see white cheddar is the most popular ready-to-eat product sold nationally, and not just in the Scouts popcorn sale, but in terms of retail stores, grocery stores, convenience stores, and Costco's, big box stores too. We have an unbelievable butter pre-popped variety. And the reason we introduced that is because we have some challenges, honestly, guys, in terms of the microwave production. And really everybody does too. Since COVID really started locking people down in early March, we've seen the demand for microwave popcorn go through the roof. Not just with, all of our customers really that Trails End or Weaver Popcorn makes microwave product for. We're not able to fill, all those orders that people wanted because the demand is just way higher than what we can produce. At the same time, our capacity to produce microwave popcorn is reduced because we've had to reconfigure our plant, spread operators farther apart to keep them safe. The shift changes now are an hour and a half versus 30 minutes so that we can make sure that people leave the plant before the next shift comes in. And we do a lot more cleaning and stuff to make sure that our plant doesn't go down. We're not making any product. So we don't have microwave popcorn that's available in the traditional sale at the checkout with your show and sell products, the ones that you see on here. And it is available in online direct because we have about 35% of the amount of microwave product that we sold last year in a scouting popcorn sale. We're going to have about that much produced that we can sell. And we didn't want to give councils, you know, here's your 30%, divide it up among the units as you see fit, because then it's just really difficult. We've tried that allotment type of process before with other products in the past when production was difficult, and it's just very hard. So we thought we'll make it available to anybody that wants it online. So a scout can sell online direct through the app at any point in time, and we'll deliver that microwave directly to the consumer's house. Or they can, you know, share their page with their aunt in Chicago or their grandmother in Florida or what have you, and she can go onto the site, pick the microwave product, enter their credit card and shipping address, and we'll ship it directly to them too. The same thing is true with the chocolate item that we had normally. This is not the product mix that we went into the spring planning to have, but it's just a reality based on what COVID's done. So the chocolate product isn't available to check out either, but it is available online direct. Chocolate, the reason for the chocolate product is it's just a longer lead time and a complicated process. We produce the caramel corn and then we send that product to a chocolate company that coats it and sends it back to us. Then we package it. We ship it to our distribution centers. Then we truck it out to councils to deliver it. And there's just a really long lead time with that. And we're not willing this year, honestly, to produce a whole bunch of chocolate when we don't know how it's going to sell, we don't know how many scouts are going to be selling in any given unit in any part of the country. So again, I'm sorry about that. It's not what we wanted. It's not what we entered the spring wanting to do, but these are the items that we'll have available for you to check out for your show and sell product. We have a bunch of other products besides this list available online too. We have, you know, salted dark chocolates. We have combinations. We have coffee, K-cups. We have some nuts that are available online. There's just a lot broader base of items that are available online if they want those. Okay, almost ready for questions. I think I have just a couple more slides left. Here are some of the resources that I talked about. If you're interested in them, you can get our Kernel guide for leaders. If you want a virtual kickoff presentation PowerPoint that we put together that you can then customize and make suitable for your scout families, you can download that from us. And then for scouts, there's a couple of things I've referenced before, like how to sell $1,000 while social distancing, a one-pager for that. And then if you need the order form, you can click that too. Although that one won't have the Wisconsin tin on it, so that one probably doesn't make sense for you guys. Okay. Oh, this is my mistake. Alex, I forgot to find out exactly who you wanted from the council to be listed as a staff advisor and their contact information, but I do have on the left side, Trails End's support. You can see the Facebook group is a good way to get support, but then there's also our website, and then there's our help desk, which is support@trails-n.com. We have a whole bunch of people that we hired during the course of the sale to answer that thing 24 hours, well, not 24 hours a day. I think it's 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they'll get back to you really quickly. If you want somebody to call you, just state that in the email that you send to the support. But we don't have a 1-800 number. We tried that before, and what we found is that those phone calls tend to take, you know, 15, 20, 25 minutes or more because the person on the phone says, well, I got you. I have a question about this too. And by the time the phone call's done, they have a full voicemail box. So we try to do a lot of stuff through the email because it's quick. And as soon as you send an email to support, you usually get a bounce back auto reply that says we've received your inquiry. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if your question or concern is one of the most frequently asked questions, you know, here's a list of those things. And that usually knocks out a lot of people's questions too. On the right, you see that we have Nick Rose, who used to be the staff advisor for the council. He's helping us out in a support specialist role. And there's his email you may not have because it's not the scouting.org email address. And then there's his cell phone too, which would be different than what you might have for him. But Nick's role is to really help provide support and questions from unit leaders about the council's sales or details, you know, relative to products or storefronts or things like that. When it gets down to the app itself or the leader portal, if you have technical questions, I'd suggest you send it to the support line because those guys are going to answer those questions real quickly. Okay, and that's the presentation. Again, I'm sorry about the video. I'll make that available so you can watch that demonstration of the leader portal and a transaction using the app. I think it's really helpful for you to see that, but you'll also see those type of demonstrations on any of our webinars. You remember I said if you went to trails-n.com/webinars, you could see the list of when they're offered, and you could register for one that fits your schedule. So either way, if you want to see the demonstrations. Alex, is there anything else you'd like to add before we get into the questions from the chat?
No, I think a couple ones is we're really close on the date. We're planning to roll out the dates on Friday. Commission rates will pretty effectively stay very similar to last year. Let's see. We are having one challenge, and if anybody has the resources, especially in the Madison area, our regular warehouse, American Family, has been a great partner for the last years. However, with the COVID thing, they've got that warehouse shut down, and those y'all who picked up in Madison know how great the folks were helping us break it down. So if you have a resource for a potential warehouse, please let me know, and we're working. We have several different things working, but I would rather have about 8 or 9 different options to make sure at least one comes through. And we should have that information for you as well. All right, Chuck, I'll let you do the Q&A.
Okay, first question. Looks like I went to book storefront sales yesterday in the website for Yahara District. There were no sales in Sun Prairie. I assume you mean no stores in Sun Prairie. Is this because they weren't contacted, or did they say not this year? It's most likely because they said no, if it were the big major chains. But again, I'm going to get that list of which ones were contacted and told us no, so that you can have that and make a decision. Like Alex said, a good point. If you go in there in person, they may be more likely to say yes than somebody over the phone. We could have gotten, somebody at 16-year-olds doing their summer job for all we know. So we'll get that list and share it. I'm also wondering if there's a list of stores that said no. Okay, yep, we covered that. Is the only online direct order form available on Trails End Community Facebook? I was told paper order forms for September. Yes, there isn't an order form, paper order form for online direct. That's just the scout going through the products that he or she has available to the consumer that they are talking with. You can do an online direct sale in person, or you could do it over the phone or through email or whatever they want to do. But yeah, there's no form for that. The forms will come. I'm not sure when they're going to be to the council here at the end of this month, but when the council plans to get those out in person to people.
Yeah, Chuck, I can address that. One of the things we're going to do, obviously, with COVID going into August, us being able to do the in-person popcorn kickoffs like we've done in the past just aren't going to work. So we'll be scheduling those, and we will have packets available for pickup both at the Camp Indian Trails Trading Post as well as the Council Service Center. And also your district executives will have editions of it. So, that we'll have packets put aside for you. You just need to let us know what you need.
Okay, next question. When my son sets goals in the app, it's showing as a dollar goal, but when I'm on a desktop, it shows as points. I assume that means when you're in, Sarah, as a leader, in the leader portal, it shows as points, the same amount, but one is points, one is dollars. Okay.
No, actually, so, Chuck, it's when I'm in as his account on a desktop. It's showing as points.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Let me, Sarah, find the answer to that and why that is, and I'll get back to you. I don't have an answer for that. I do know we have a rewards program that's kind of based on points, but the council had made a decision early on that they preferred to keep the prize program that they'd had, and that's fine. There were a lot of changes this year for your unit leaders and your scouts. So there is kind of a disconnect sometimes in those, when we refer to rewards. Not every council does our rewards program, but I'll find out the answer to that question and get back to you. Michelle asks, is the storefront we have used in the past is not listed on the website? Should we contact the store directly or Trails End? Yes, I would go ahead and contact them directly. Our folks are pretty much done contacting stores. They were, they tried to go about for the last month and a half, I think, they were trying to contact all the major, storefronts, stores that we know are, we knew of in the area. We asked the council who are the main grocery store chains, where are the places that you would suggest, and so we contact all those. If you don't see it on the list, it probably wasn't asked or told us no, and I'll get that no list to everybody here soon. Sarah also asked, you're the popcorn kernel for both the pack and the troop. You have 2 emails with different usernames. When you log in, they both bring you to the pack. Yeah, you should be able to use one username to log in for either one. The Facebook group told you. Okay. Sarah, I think I'd like to take that offline with you, just talk with you directly and get someone in our support to answer that question definitively for you. But for everybody else, my understanding is that if you're the popcorn kernel for multiple units, and that's not uncommon at all, that you should be able to just use one email address to get into both. I know that if a parent has two scouts in the same family, they can use the same email address. They don't have to have different email addresses for those two different accounts for their scouts. Okay, Michael's asking, best method for getting packed in app, should leaders load by parent, email distribution list? My scout is the only one in the app after a week of advertising step-by-step for parents. Well, we would like to be able to have an import from a spreadsheet, that could then invite everybody at once, but that functionality just isn't part of the leader portal yet. What you have to do is invite them by email through that invite a scout one by one. And when you click that, you'll see that it's really straightforward. And it sounds like you've tried that. And your parents aren't responding. I know last year when we didn't have COVID, a lot of families say, I don't understand this. I don't know how to do this, until you had the kickoff. At the kickoff, once they understood, a lot more of them did create accounts. Some packs had, laptops or tablets at the kickoff, which may not be an option this year for you, but to help log in. But that's my best suggestion on that. The double points for online direct, yep, that doesn't apply. It's just dollar. It's a dollar for dollar in the sales for your prize with Keller Marketing this year. And that'll be on the flyer that you'll see that Alex talked about being available to you. Sarah's asked, did you say our council doesn't earn double points for online direct? Yeah, I need to clarify this. I don't know if I'm stating this answer totally correctly. Seems like there's a number of questions about that. Alex, let me go back and find out more about that with councils that are not using the rewards program, how those points work, and get back to you so we can answer the follow-up to these folks. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Shannon Swadley asked, will there be more free shipping weekends? With switching popcorn companies this year, we were not ready for the last weekend. Yeah, we know that the free shipping weekends drive a lot more online sales than the ones where there's not free shipping, obviously, but I'm not sure. We talked about having another one. Just to give you a point of reference, when we had free shipping over the weekend, it was a 3-day weekend. There was about $550,000 of sales nationally. And then nationally on a 3-day period when there's not free shipping, it's about 75,000. So it does make a difference, but I also think sometimes leaders and even scouts and scout families make the decision that people will not buy if they have to pay for shipping. But we didn't have free shipping until last year for any of our sales, and there are a lot of people that sell thousands of dollars online. So it's kind of one of those, let's give it a shot and see. Let's not make the decision for the consumer. When using the app, it seems to take forever to load and sometimes never connects. Is this normal? No, Renee, that's not. I mean, if that's happening to you, sometimes the support group will say, log back out of the app, clear your cache, and log back in. Sometimes that'll fix it. But if that's still not fixing it, I'd send an email to the support group and they'll solve that for you. Jerry asked, when do we get the square readers? Those should come in the next week to 10 days. We're getting that right now. For one thing, I should tell you, any scout that sold $1,000 or more last year, we're going to send that scout their own reader. Now, we don't have all the mailing addresses for all those scouts, and we don't even know, in some cases, which scouts sold $1,000 or more. So we may need your help, leaders, on that. So watch for that. But that's our time frame to get those out. And by the way, any scout that sold 3,500 or more last year will get his own or her own Bluetooth reader. So a contactless, the consumer just inserts the card or dips the card in there, and Scout never has to actually touch it. But again, you can use the app real quick. You can use the app when you're checking out. You can type in the number 2. You don't have to have a reader to do online sales or online direct or take a credit card. Yes.
If like we were with a different company last year, so does that still apply?
Well, Shannon, if you wanted to use whatever you're talking about that's not Square, you would have to open your account with that provider. I don't know, is it Pay Anywhere? Is that the name of it?
No, I'm saying we were with like Camp Masters popcorn last year. So like
Right.
my son sold $2,000 through that. So
Okay.
does he not, he doesn't get a Square reader because it was with a different company?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely he does. It doesn't matter. We know that everybody in the council last year sold Camp Masters, but if they sold over $1,000 or more last year, we're going to give that scout their own
Okay.
reader this year. Yep. And 3,500 above get their own Bluetooth reader.
So we just need to look out for something?
Yeah, I mean, we had a list, I thought, but we didn't have necessarily addresses. So the plan was going to be to send them to the scout, to the unit leaders and ask you to help us get those out because we just don't know their address. Now, next year, we probably will continue to give readers out to high performing scouts that are doing a lot of transactions. So a council that was with us last year, those scouts, we would know their sales because they're in the app. So we're going directly to them and they're claiming their reader and they're supplying the shipping address for us. But we don't have that with you guys because you weren't with us last year using the app. So
Perfect.
yeah, please watch for something and we'll get that out to you quickly. Does council district have updated readers? They won't work our current technology. Yeah, I think, Michael, if you're talking about the Pay Anywhere readers, you could still use Pay Anywhere, but you'd have to pay the fees. So then you'd have to get the money from your bank or whatever it's tied to. Maybe it's the unit's account of the bank to turn in that money. So I think it would be better for you to use the Square readers or type in the numbers in the credit cards so that it processes through the app and you get credits for it. You don't have to deal with any of that cash and you don't have to pay any of the fees. We use Square because it just has a great name recognition, great reputation, and they helped us build the processing part of our app. All right, Sarah asked, I thought Scouts that sold over 1,000 got a free reader. Okay, we just covered that. Michelle asked, I thought each pack was going to be supplied a reader or two. Is this true? Yes, we're going to try to supply every pack with at least one reader, above and beyond with those Scouts that sold 1,000 more. Okay. I need to clarify the points part, so that answers that question. The email that we can use, invite Scouts to sell, says there's free shipping. Can that be changed? Yeah, I'd have to see that email, Sarah. If you could forward it to me, I'd like to see it. But it might have been because we had that free shipping weekend early on. If it could be a typo. So if you could send it to me, I can make sure that it gets corrected. Okay, do we have dates yet when things need to be ordered and such? Okay, Alex answered that one earlier. Okay, Pack 16 asks, can you clarify how prizes are awarded? Is that through Trails Under the Council? Alex, I think that there's a way that the unit leaders order their prizes, but I don't know what that is. Can you speak to that?
Basically, it'll be very similar to what we did last year. When you submit your order, there'll be an order sheet, and you fill it out. It'll be shipped to you. Once you submit it, I think we were turning it around inside of 3 days from the approval process. So it'll be shipped directly to y'all.
Okay.
Alex, do you know if there's a particular reason why Glacier's Edge is deciding against going with the Amazon gift cards as prizes?
Yes, we had some conversations with some of our top selling kids. And that's the key part, because if the kids sell, they're motivated for it. And what we found is our packs that are doing the prize program are still doing much better with it because they see it, they can touch it, and it's an instant gratification kind of a thing. So we will potentially look at the Amazon cards next year, but at a certain point, we did some radical change to the popcorn sale from last year, and people can only handle so much change in one particular year. So we're going to take a look at it, and we also want to see how it was working with some of the other councils that were doing it. There were some councils that swore by it and said it was great. There were some that took some feedback. So we want to do is see how it works on the apps and the change over to it, and then we'll review it for the 2021 sale.
Sounds good. I know I just had a couple families that when they found out that they could literally choose anything from Amazon, that they were excited about that. And then I was like, hold that thought. So thanks.
Okay. Jerry asked, will more storefronts be added at different stores? Madison only has 2 locations listed. I'm going to get that list out to everybody that I referenced before. Seems odd that there will only be 2 in the city of Madison. Michelle asked, what products are in the Badger tin? All right, the most popular product, or I guess the one that sells the most, is the small caramel corn, the $10 item, and that's because it's $10, right? But the other 2 most popular products are the salted caramel and the white cheddar, and those are the 2 items that are in the Badger's tin. Is there a way to see ingredients for the products? Yes, at our website, trails-in.com, you'll be able to find where you can see the nutritional information for every product. I think it gives the whole panel there for each item. If shipment is delayed, lost in shipment for online direct, does Popcorn Kernel or customer follow up? If shipment is delayed, well, when a consumer does an online direct sale, I believe they get a a notice that says, here's when your product will be shipped. So for instance, if they ordered a chocolate product, we're not shipping those until 1st of October, I believe, because through UPS or FedEx, those are just, there's too much of a risk for melting. So those are delayed, and that is the consumer when they make an online purchase. So the popcorn kernel shouldn't have to follow up. If a consumer doesn't receive their popcorn from an online transaction, normally they reach out to Trails End. If they reach out to the Scout and said that they still haven't received it or something was wrong, then they can let us know, and we'll reach out to them and take care of it for them. Yeah. I heard that if someone's order includes chocolate, then none of the order will ship until October when it cools down. However, if they split the order and get the product right away, they pay double shipping. Is that correct? Well, we were going to split orders, but in doing that, we found that we made a lot more mistakes last year. We had a lot more unhappy customers. So if the order does have an item that's chocolate and has other items that are not, then yes, we hold the order until it's shipped all the way until October, when it can be shipped all at once. And we tell the customers that, so they're aware of it. But yes, if they don't want to do that and they want some of the product now and they want the chocolate later, then they would have to do 2 separate transactions. So they would have to pay more in shipping. Yep, that's correct. Will we have access to a copy of this presentation? Yes, I'll make it available to Alex as soon as we're done. And the video demonstration, that's a big file, so I'm going to have to see how I can get that out to everybody. When do we place our packs order for wagon sales? You can order the product for your show and sell, I guess, to pick up product to have in hand, whether you used to sell it through the wagon sales or through storefronts. That'll be available to start ordering as a unit leader the week of July 27th. And I think those are going to be due sometime at the end of August is what we're looking at. Shannon, so we can order product for door-to-door sales, or we will have to order all of it at the end of the sale. I heard that we wouldn't have any stock of popcorn. Well, if your scouts were going to go out and sell right now, if they wanted to go through the neighborhoods, they could do wagon sales and as a take order and collect the money and know the product that they want. And then when the product comes into September, they can go deliver it then to them. Or they can do an online direct sale with those consumers now and not have to go back and deliver anything or collect any money. Those are the 2 ways they can sell now. But yes, once you get product in hand in September, that's when you can go door to door with the product in hand or have your storefronts. And then obviously at the end of the sale, we'll have a wrap-up take order for any product needs that you have beyond what you may have checked out during the course of the sale. I hope that answers your question, Shannon. Adam asks, when is our popcorn pickup distribution date for in-person sales? Alex mentioned that would be sent out here pretty soon. Isabel, could you display again the webinar slide and explain further how parents can attend to those? Yeah, so are a whole bunch of leader webinars for you to be able to see the technology, the demonstrations, get tips and suggestions from other top selling unit leaders. You'll hear all the Q&A if you want to. And those are going on 5 or 6 times a day. And then we have Scout webinars, which are for scouts and parents if they want to. Those dates are listed or when they're offered on the webinars page 2. And that address is, again, it's trails-end.com/webinars. When we get done with all the questions, Isabel, I'll put that slide back up. Shannon asks, how do you track storefront sales for each sale? When you say each sale, Shannon, what do you mean?
I mean storefronts, like, so we chose the split by entire sale method, which is
Right.
what we usually do every year with the kids. So let's say I'm making a sale, I don't want to make it underneath an individual scout, right? Where would I go to make, like, to mark that the product has been sold?
Okay, so the app and the leader portal all work together. It's really cool, pretty slick. If you have, let's say, 3 scouts showing up from the 10 a.m. to noon shift at the Walmart, for instance, then you only need one of those 3 scouts to have the app open to do all the transactions for everybody that buys from you. And the system knows that the 3 scouts that claim to work at that shift, that 10 to noon shift, they all will get one share of the shift. So the system knows that if you decide as a unit to split them all across the scouts that did storefront shifts for the whole sale, then they know that Johnny, worked 8 shifts and Stevie worked 2 shifts. And so they'll all get, that percentage of the total sales made at the storefronts during the sale.
Okay, so they can still do it underneath their account. So like if my son was there, I would just have him log into his app.
We'd want your son to claim that shift, to be there that day from the 10 to noon. And whether you use his account to process all the sales for the 3 scouts that are there, or you use any of the other 2 scouts app, it doesn't matter. The system's going to know that your scout was work that shift, and he should get credit for that share of the shifts. We didn't have split across the entire sale last year because honestly, the scout doesn't know what his sales are at any given time if you're doing that method. So halfway through the sale, he may have attended and worked 4 shifts, but he's not seeing credit for those yet because how much he's going to get depends on what the total sales are at the end. So we really like the individual method, or the split by shift, or the split by that day at that store. But it's up to you. Like you said, you've done that for years.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that, like, we don't tend to do as much at the hardware store as like Walmart or the grocery store. So it's just always been like, we don't want to penalize those scouts that like work at the hardware store instead of choosing a shift at Walmart.
Yep, understand. Weekday shifts aren't as good as weekends and stuff. I get you. Okay. You're welcome. Christina, I fell off this call earlier. Where can I access the recording later? Well, we're going to send the presentation to everybody after this, Christina, but the actual leader portal and the app demonstration, you can see those if you go to any of the Trails End webinars. They're going to go through those same demonstrations, but we'll also look into how we can make that demonstration video available to you guys. I can't email it out because it's just too large of a file. Okay, Michael asked, is recommendation still about 25% last year of initial inventory? All right, that's a very good question. I'm glad you brought it up. So we're telling councils that we really encourage them and their units to be more conservative with how much they check out, because most councils have a return policy that you can't return more than X amount or return any product at all because they don't want to get stuck with it. And units don't want to get stuck with it this year if they find out that more of their families say they're not going to participate than they thought. So we would recommend that you go pretty conservative. We're going to have a couple replenishments or a few replenishment options during the sale. That means times that you can place an additional order for more product and come pick it up during the sale after that initial order if you want to. So there's really no downside for you to being pretty conservative on that front end order. We just want to make sure you don't get stuck with anything because the sale didn't go well or fewer scouts participated than you thought. That looks like the last.
Let me jump on that one a little bit too, is, one of the challenges we have this year, and, we've gotten better every year, but the returns, it's gotten complicated, and this year with COVID, even more so. And, I know I'm going to get some phone calls and say, well, you can't tell us not to return any. We're going to be, trying to cut that down even more so, because if I have to replenish it, I've lost control over the product. I don't know where it's been. I don't know who's had it. And you might say, well, I want to return, but if I'm filling some of your needs, how do you feel about receiving product that we don't know the history on it? So we do need to be, kind of conservative with it. We're going to work as much as possible because we know this is a key important part of your pack or troops fundraising activity. I think one of the things as we go forward with this popcorn sale and this year is, like everything else, is rigid flexibility will be the order of the day. And one of the things with it is I found that we can create self-fulfilling prophecies, both good or bad. If we sit there and say, oh, well, they're not going to do online because they don't want to pay for the shipping. I don't know about y'all, but I have bought a lot of stuff online since the middle of March. And sometimes it's free shipping, sometimes it's not. So I think our cultural feeling towards that has changed. And so by how we present that to them, if we go in and say, oh, well, you got to pay for shipping, I know it's going to be hard. Well, now you've just shot yourself in the foot and nobody's going to have to mess with it, and it's going to fall down. However, if when you present it, say, hey, and guess what? We can do this online. We don't have to deliver it. I don't know about y'all, but I'm really excited about not having to tote pallets of microwave popcorn. My back already is celebrating. But those are the things we have to do to make this thing happen. And I really think that by sharing this information about the app, and I think honestly, one of the benefits of trying to do the early sale in July is to introduce our parents to this app so they feel comfortable with it. Because let's face it, if we do a lot of these online sales and that really moves the bar on it, well, weather doesn't play into the picture about whether it's rainy, snowy, hot, cold, or whatnot. So again, this is a little bit of a paradigm shift, but just think how much we've changed as a society in scouting over the last 3 to 4 months. If you would have said virtual camp and virtual campouts back in February, most of our scoutmasters would have looked at me like I lost my mind. But look what we've done with it, and we're still delivering the program. So again, there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be change, but I think what we have to look at is overall, our units are going to need this money for their programs more so than ever. And I think with telling parents, hey, this is how we can deal with it, and we're excited about it, we're going to have a successful sale. So again, there's going to be change. There's going to be challenges that we can't foresee right now, but we're going to do our best to be able to communicate and work with you. And what we ask is that y'all keep that in mind, and we all assume that we come to this thing with good intentions and in good faith, and we think the best of each other as we move forward. I'm very excited about the sale. I'm scared to death about it at the same time, because just as it's an important part of your PAC and Troops fundraising effort, it's a key part of our council's fundraising effort. And we've had some challenges this year with the fallout from COVID. So we have a vested interest in having a great popcorn sale.
Yeah, I'm going to say something I forgot to mention earlier as I go back to the webinars slide that Isabel had asked for. We asked unit leaders after last year who used the app and the leader portal, we asked them, how much time do you normally spend as a popcorn colonel from start to finish on the sale? And the average was 77 hours. I don't know if you were more than that or you were less than that as a unit colonel, but from the time you do your trainings to the time you're delivering that last prize or the prizes at the PAC meeting, I should say, a lot of leaders told us they spend, or the average was 77 hours. Now we asked them after last year, after having the app and the leader portal, did that save you time? Because the leader portal does all the calculations for the show and sell and tells you how much product should come back, how much money should come back to you in form of cash, and how much in credit card. At the end of the day, end of the weekend, you're not spending all this time trying to reconcile all these, reports and sheets of paper and so forth. Well, they told us that it saved them about a third of their time. So if you're an average unit leader, you spend 77 hours in a typical year, and you use these tools this year, and it saves you 25 hours. That's like a whole season of Game of Thrones, right? Or it's something you could binge watch and have a lot of your life back. So hopefully that you'll find that that's the way it is for you too. But I know, just because I've been a unit popcorn colonel before, last thing I'll say, and we'll see if anybody has any last questions, but I know when I was the unit colonel, I would have the kickoff and I would tell all of our families and our parents, this is what we need to do, or this is how we need to do it. And they usually listen. They kind of nod their heads and they think, well, he's the person that got trained on the popcorn sale. He knows what we need to do. So I'm going to take that advice, or I'm going to do those methods. If you guys go to your families and say, you really need to use the app as the way to do your transactions, because you can take credit cards and I can see how you're going and how you're doing. Most of the parents are going to nod their heads and say, yeah. Now you may have, a handful of parents who say, I'm going to give you the order form at the end. That's how we're going to do it. And that's fine, but that's a lot fewer order forms than you will have to deal with if your folks don't use the app. So let's see if there are any last questions. If anybody wants to unmute and ask them their question themselves now, we can take that, and we'll give another couple minutes to see if anybody has any other questions, and then we'll call it a night. I think Isabel just asked, for microwave popcorn, will this year not be available at all, or just until the fall? Yes, it's available online direct right now. So Scout selling online direct, or sharing their online page to anybody they know, so that person clicks the link and is taken to our website and is supporting that Scout with a sale. They'll see microwave popcorn right now. And we're going to have it as long as it's available. When we sell through the allotment that we're able to get produced, then it will be gone. But we're hoping that we can go the whole sale with it that way. Number 2, is the salted caramel equivalent to Supreme Caramel Crunch with nuts? Our salted caramel is a little different formulation than anybody else's, so it probably won't taste exactly the same, but it does not have nuts in it. And that's a good thing for some people, and maybe for other people not so much. But there's a lot of people that say they have nut allergies now, and does our products have any nuts in them, or made in a facility with nuts? And we don't have any products with nuts in them. 3, will a sea salt popcorn be available? So we just have the salted caramel. That's the only sea salt product that we have. Rob asks, suggestion for sharing large files with everyone here, use Google Drive or MS OneDrive. Okay, thank you. Rob, I'll look into both of those, but I'm going to ask my IT people too what they want me to use, because sometimes they'll say, you can use this, but you can't use that. Okay, any other questions? You can type them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask it live. Michael asks, will popcorn sale be year-round? That's not our intention. Usually it's in the fall, because that's when units have the most person in their unit. But I mean, you could sell online at other times of the year if you wanted to, but we have the ability for a Scout to sell online any time of the year. It's just that 99% of all online sales are made at the same time as the traditional sale. And I think that's because they're in the mindset of the sale happening now. Let's ask everybody, whatever the method. We may see some units start later this year. Maybe they get reorganized in October and want to start selling then, but I don't know if I'd say year round. Shannon, question for Alex. Is it possible to get wreath and poinsettia order forms early? We usually sell at the same time as popcorn. Yeah, the short answer is yes. Those are at the printer also. For those units who with Margaret Williams, our staff advisor to that, she can arrange to put a collection of the order forms with your popcorn pieces so you can pick them up at the same time. Okay, Sarah asks, you remind me of your email address so I can forward the email invite to you. Yep, there's my address. I just typed it for everybody to see in the chat. It's my first name, Chuck, a period, my last name, Pattison, spelled P-A-T-T-I-S-O-N, @trails-n.com. Isabel, if other products are sold in the webpage, not popcorn, will those count towards the popcorn sale? Absolutely. Any item that your Scout may sell through online direct, which offers more products than what the traditional sale that you'll be able to have in hand at any point in time has, or if their consumer goes to our webpage, yes, any sale that they make, all those sales count towards the sales total for the Scout for the purpose of reaching his goal or his prize level that he or she wants. Same thing is true with military, or actually, I keep saying military, but it's the American Heroes donation. If a Scout gets somebody to give $100 for the American Heroes donation, that counts just the same as whether they sold 10 small caramels at $10 a piece.
Yep. And just so y'all know, one of the things that we did in the spring is we did have some leftover popcorn. Once COVID hit, normally we used it for principal visits, but the schools closed. We delivered them to police stations, fire departments, ambulances, hospitals, the National Guard, and all those folks. And we kind of really set the stage because, you know, whether we like it or not, there's some folks in our community who aren't really big on the military. And so this gives us an opportunity to get that extra product directly to the folks in the community. And we had a lot of pictures taken of kids delivering popcorn, and we will be working on, so like, if you have military orders, see, Chuck, you got me saying it now. Local
It's a hard
heroes
habit.
orders, what we'll end up doing is if you have extra product, we can work on trying to use that to get it out instead of having to deal with returns. So I think that's something we can work with, and an extra motivation to promote the Local Heroes program. And of course, we'll have a patch.
Any other questions? Well, there's my email address if you have any for Trails End. And Alex, I don't know if they have ones for the council's side of it. They could ask Nick.
Yeah, you can use Nick's. You can get a hold of me. Joe Lewis is our new council program director. He'll be working on this. He's currently at EBSR, where they're having a successful summer and having a great time up there. But we're gonna wean him off of camp and into popcorn as we get into the summer. You know, for Joe right now, it's kind of like drinking from a fire hose. So what we'll do is, again, we'll be communicating that with you. We want to thank you for being part of this. Again, we're excited about this going forward. You know, change is never easy. You know, we never like change. Nobody does. But the reality of it is, you know, the popcorn sale over the last 40 years has evolved from the plastic buckets full of popcorn that we would deliver. And I'm thankful we didn't do tube socks, because that just really would have been an interesting concept. And we're at a point where this could be the next big thing for our popcorn sale. Because imagine if we don't have to pick up much popcorn physically, and we can get it all, you know, a significant part of it out, thanks to UPS or FedEx or whoever's delivering it. They have stronger backs than I do. So again, thank you all very much. Chuck, thank you for putting this on and being part of our team. We're looking forward to a great sale. Everybody be safe, have fun. And you know, if you are doing outside sales, these camp buffs really look cool. Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Chuck, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I have just a last minute question. If someone orders something online, but they want to save the shipping cost, can one address be put in all of them, or how would that work? Because I have some parents that, I mean, I normally deliver the popcorn to them, and they mentioned.
So you want to sell to them, but then have your scout or you deliver the product to them later?
Correct.
Okay, then when you're in the app, you would select wagon sales, and then you would go through the transaction process, pick the products that they want, and then you'll collect the money. You can either collect cash or check from them, or you can process a credit card right there to finish the transaction, and then you could check that as undelivered. And then you'll know that you need to order that much popcorn to fulfill later. So then when the popcorn comes in September, you can then go deliver it to them then. The online direct is if somebody is okay with paying the shipping charge and having the product shipped directly from the manufacturer, which is us, to the leaders, or to the consumer's door, I should say.
Okay, but otherwise they can pay with the credit card?
They can pay.
And then just I should put undelivered. That will be the key part.
Yeah, that's how you would know.
September.
That's how you would know you need to order that much worth of product to fulfill those sales that you already made.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, wagon sales, and then you can use a credit card or debit card to do to the form of payment for that transaction. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, I think she snuck that one under the wire, Alex. Are we signing off?
If no one else has anything else, we'll go ahead and sign off. And again, thank you all very much. Look forward to a great sale.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.